Time now, 17 minutes past 6. Which of us hasn't dreamt about building a brand new house exactly how you want it? You know the sort of thing, swimming pool in the garden, his and hers bathrooms. Is that what you want? Do you want a his and hers bathroom?
I wouldn't mind that at all.
Maybe
I wouldn't mind the swimming pool.
Home cinema?
I'm not bothered about the cinema. Well, such ambitions may not be as far-fetched as you think, because around 15,000 people a year now build their own homes. Brian Milligan reports on how to save a fortune by becoming your own project manager.
We come into the entrance hall, and here we've got a large section of glass which creates an indoor garden, and there's going to be trees running all the way up through the building.
You'll need a stout pair of boots and even stronger nerves. But those who do build their own house can save a lot of money and turn dreams into reality.
A balcony overlooking our lounge and fantastic window and views through to the garden.
You don't need to do any of the physical work yourself. You remain the project manager and chief visionary.
Every time you look at buying a property, you're compromising. And when you're building your own, you don't have to compromise. You've got a blank canvas and you do exactly what you want.
So this is an example of a self-built kitchen.
But while it's fun to plan the details of your dream kitchen, you do need to think very carefully about finance. At this self-build centre in Swindon, they offer help with specialist mortgages and advice on cash flow.
If you finish a stage and you don't have the funds there to pay your builder, he's not likely to continue with the next stage. So if there's a big delay, he might go off and get another job, and you're then waiting for him to finish that job before he can come back.
Overseeing the rise of your new house also brings extra responsibilities. As the person in charge, you become an official employer.
In other words, you're responsible for the safety of your own contractors. So, you need to buy public liability insurance and also insurance against the theft of building materials and machinery. You also need to be a certain kind of person with a certain kind of skill.
You do need people management skills. You know, things go wrong and it's not necessarily somebody's fault. You know, cars break down, vans break down, stuff gets stolen off site, and you have to be able to deal with these issues.
Terry Moore believes this house will cost him up to 30% less than a conventional house. So however hard the experience gets, just remember those savings. Tens of thousands of pounds you won't need to break the bank for. Brian Milligan, BBC News.
Let's talk about it more now with Henry Pryor, who's a housing expert. The thing that occurs to me, Henry, and some people are thinking, great, you know, you can have your own plan. It's the money. I mean, what about the figures? How much can you build a house for?
Well, this is the problem. This is the one big drag. Well, there are two big drags on building your own house, and about 50,000 people plus every year would love to build their own house. As the package was saying, we only got about 15,000 in the last 12 months. But the money side is desperately difficult. You need a particular type of mortgage. There were, until recently, only about 10 or 11 different lenders who you could go to. That's crept up a bit now. We've got about 23, 24 different independent lenders who will be able to fund it. But obviously you need to be able to draw down that money as the construction goes on. And at the end of the day, you're only able, really, to borrow about 75% of the finished value of the property.
And what figures are we talking about? Say you're talking about, I don't know, a three-bedroom house. Pretty standard three-bedroom house. How much?
About £100,000 to £130,000 to build the house. The building construction costs interestingly, haven't changed very much over the last decade. It's the value of the land that's become much more expensive. So if you buy the land, which is the most difficult thing to get hold of, you can then build yourself a pretty average house, but very much to your specification, with your games room or your swimming pool or your 3 bedrooms or whatever that you need, your dream house. And rather like people, we say that people have one book in them, most people, we reckon, have one house at least.
Isn't the thing, though, that it would be virtually a full-time job, wouldn't it, to oversee it, manage the finances, manage the fact that the plugs are in the right place and all the rest of it? There wouldn't be much time to do anything else, would there?
Well, you are your own project manager, and you have to be on top of the job to make sure that everybody who's promised to turn up and do the bits that they need to do actually turn up.
It's pretty complicated.
It's a complicated thing. It's not for the faint-hearted. It can be very expensive, and it's the expense that is usually the Achilles heel of any self-build project, because inevitably one's tastes develop as the project goes along. and also the unexpected things you come across. So you might be putting in the foundations and discover that you've got an old watercourse that's not on any map that you've got to take account of. So that's what, when we see the great grand design Kevin MacLeod type ideas on television, those are the things that tend to trip people up.
And I guess one of the inevitable things is if you build a very quirky house to your own style and taste, supposing at some point you want to sell it, the very things that make it so delightful for you might be the things that put everyone else off.
Well, that's what you have to balance, of course. You're looking to build your own dream in the place that you want it to be, which may be desperately convenient for you, but is it going to be convenient for somebody else? So you have to have a mind, obviously, when you are building to the future and who is eventually going to buy that house that you've built. But the good news is that, by and large, most people typically make a 25 to 30% profit on their house if they get it right and they keep on top of the costs. That's the sort of money you can expect.
So it is worth doing it if you can. Okay. Henry, thank you very much. Thank you.